Live from the big house, it's time to go and find out who's crowned 2024's king. Live from Crandon's International Raceway, the final round of the iRacing National Short Course Series, powered by Next Level Racing Pits, Connor Barry and Luke Knupp, the two dominant forces up against one another. And so delighted you join us here on RaceSpot TV to see how it all ends. Our Junior Kenki party joined, as ever, by the voice of off-road Dave Arnold as we get set to settle this. Dave, what a wild season it's been, and it all comes to a head in a really, really dramatic finale.
Oh, it's been crazy. I mean, to watch, Luke Knupp, he came out striking first. Then Connor Barry got the trifecta right after it. And then Luke backed it up with another two. But changing it up, Trenton Briley took a win at Bark River. And then Dane Culver, he came out of nowhere and won it short, Crandon. And Luke Knupp, though, the winner at the last race. Who's it going to be? We're going to have a new one? Or will it be Luke or Connor who are battling for the championship? Or Juno, that's what all the people want to know.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this, counting off the days in many ways, and a disjointed season has seen the drivers have to adapt, and we are so grateful they've stuck with us, and what a season it has been. Let's go ahead and take a look at just some of the highlights of a wild 9 races so far in 2024. And what a season, with such incredible racing that now sees the Land Rush Star in many ways dominate the driver's mind. But 7 points splitting Connor Barry and Luke Knupp. Dave, that is the margin of grabbing pole position and then winning in one of your respective heat races to take you on to the main event. For Barry and Knupp, it is very simple. They cannot afford to make any mistakes because there's no drop rounds to talk about anymore. It all comes down to this.
Oh, yeah, I mean, 7 points is separating right now Connor Barry and Luke Knupp. And like you talked about, qualifying so important, how you finish in your heat race. And, of course, it's going to come down to where you finish in the main event for these two. Luke's got to, have some luck on his side. He's got to get those fast qualifiers. He's got to win the heat race. And he's got to take the win and hopefully keep a couple people between him when him and Connor are racing.
There's a look at, as we mentioned, some of those ways you build up points, so many different ways that you can accumulate them, of course, but mathematically we are down to just the 2. It's as simple as that. Heat races, 3 of them to come, qualifying to determine how we split them up, of course, and from there we will work our way into what, of course, is the frantic LCQs, where 3 drivers advance to the very back of the main event, where we'll see, of course, the 12 laps and the competition caution. We've seen the Triple Crown events bring a lot of intrigue, a lot of excitement, but it's back to the regular racing, and it does mean, of course, 10 wide, we will fly down into the opening corner when we go racing. Talk to us about the big house, Dave, because we're ready to do it Crandon style.
One of the best things is, that the land rush start. All I can say is there's nothing like it in off-road except for in Crandon. Well, once you do that, you're going to hit over 100 miles an hour going through that Forest County Potawatomi turn number 1 as you make it through the Red Bull arches there. Then you're going to go make the nice little roundabout by the, the barn, and then you're going to head through the skybox corner into gravel pit, over the leap, the Polaris leap there, and then going through. And you got to remember, it is crazy, the races that we have here going through just to start. Now, let me back this up. You don't even start one lap until you make it to the finish line. So you got to make it through those turns there. And it's going to continue on. You got Argonne Corner. You got, Cowboys Corner. It's a 90-degree hairpin. And then it's going to bring you back all the way around to get to that Calamity Quarter again to get one lap in. I mean, it's just nuts. This is one of the longest tracks that you'll see before you even start into one lap.
It's called the Big House, and it's earned that name in so many different ways. And these drivers that fight up front, they've got their experience of it in the real world and carry that forward into the virtual. 5 minutes left in qualifying, and one thing that we should note, of course, is with that slightly awkward and offset start, same thing sort of applies in qualifying, where you do have an outlap in effect that you run around. And so instead of 4 attempts potentially, we could be down to just the 2. And so you've got to really make sure you make every single opportunity count. Luke Knupp on the bottom is working his way towards the final corner. It's Connor Barry on top that's working his way through the long left-hander into the final sector. Knupp currently 3rd, Connor Barry yet to go on the board.
Well, here's the big question. This is so important. What's going through Luke Knupp's mind right now? He knows if he gets the fast qualifying, there's 5 points. Okay, now there's only 2 points separating him and Connor. Now let's just take Sarah, whatever him and Connor could be in the same heat race. They could not. Well, if Knupp wins that, there's 7 points. Then they're tied going into it.
And wow, Connor Barry, 26 thousandths of a second to the top.
Okay, so now Luke Knupp's now sitting 4th. So there's a big run he's going to have to get in his mind right now. He's got to breathe deep. He's got to just get down and do the work.
Wow, that is remarkable. The margins at the top, by the way, we're talking 5-car split by under a 1/10 of a second around the entirety of what the 1.5 odd miles around the Crandon International Raceway. That is Dennis Crosby that's currently going to be working his way towards the final corner. Next driver to cross the timing beam and set what will be his penultimate attempt. Still has an additional run if he wants to try and improve upon the time, but out wide a little bit. That looks to be just arcing himself through the corner and setting up for what should be another final lap as mentioned. There's Crystal King, currently 10th on the board, and can you believe it, 3/10 off gets you 10th.
Oh, I'll tell you, Crystal's just been on fire. I mean, she has really come up through the program, watched her in the regional. She accelerated, but she has been such a consistent driver this year. She's just been getting, making the main. There's a couple she didn't make, but to see leaps and bounds like a driver like her to make those leaps and bounds in 1 year.
And wow, she has just jumped up to 3rd, and again, 57 thousandths off. This is Nicholas Dachelet, who seems to have some new colors for this event, the yellow and green of the factory SimSport entry, who have plenty, by the way, of running trucks inside of the top 10 in points. So all things considered, been a pretty decent season for them. Let's ride on board, though. Connor Barry out of the final corner. He's got one more attempt to go in qualifying. Luke Knupp is already on that final attempt. He begins his final lap already on top in the qualifying standings.
Now, I just was thinking back. That looks kind of like a Cole Trickle car, Days of Thunder.
Just is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it looks like to me.
I mean, I guess there's if you're going to finish the season off with a special livery, you might as well have fun with it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm trying to do it. It reminds me kind of like the mellow yellow colors, a little bit that he ran in the movie. Just throwing it out there. Could be wrong. You never know. But I love it. Can't miss Luke Knupp though.
No, you cannot miss him in the splash and go machine. By the way, as they sit right now, the championship advantage extends by 4 points, and Knupp has just crossed the line to actually begin what's his final qualifying run. So excuse me there. Again, that outlap slightly sometimes confusing our qualifying graphics and how they all represent the time to us. So Connor Barry going to be first to the line to finish up his season in terms of qualifying. Remember we talked to him at the end of the last round. He said he hadn't felt like his qualifying this season had been the best. way do you respond, especially with a championship on the line? Well, you put yourself on top, you gain the 5 points, and can he find any improvement in the CBR Team General Tire Nitro Circus Sim Racing machine? It's a 16.537, finds himself another 300s.
Wow, that's just incredible. You know, Connor is running like a scared cat out there with a coyote chasing him. Luke Knupp, definitely the wildy coyote.
And well, you at least can find the coyote. That's a rather dark room for Luke Knupp. Dane Culver up to third. But this now means Luke Knupp out of a qualifying position that will give him points. Jacob Rafos has just gone to pole and robbed Connor Barry of a valuable championship point by 7,000ths of a second. We are playing with such fine margins, and Luke Knupp out of Calamity Corner with a 16.772 will not improve and finds himself starting at best in 7th spot.
Well, I got to say, right now, Luke Knupp's got to be kind of happy, smiling that he knows Connor didn't get another 5 points on him.
Yeah, but we can take a look once again in the top right. Connor still grabs 4 points, so your margin now extends to 11. So remember, if each position is worth 2 points, now Luke Knupp needs to finish the main event. Just completely throwing out the window the points you can get in the heat races as well. He's going to have to get himself at least 6 positions in front of Connor to come out on top in the championship, which that sounds like a rather tall order.
Yeah, it is, but this is Crandon. Just when you think you're on top, you're not. And that's one thing about Crandon brings. It equalizes. The great equalizer out there for off-road racers. Turn number 1, it could change everything for everybody.
and so, as the expert in the commentary booth, Dave, do we call it turn 1 or do we technically call it turn 5? You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah. No, it's always been Potawatomi, Forest County Potawatomi turn number 1, and that's what we always refer to it. The Potawatomi Indians, they've owned that turn for several years now, and it's still turn 1. Maybe turn 5, but it's still turn 1.
Well, before we get going with our racing, let's talk to our championship contenders before we get into our opening ceremonies. Of course, what a season it has been for Connor Barry. We talk about, consistency in terms of being at the front. He's a driver that has not had to use many of his drop rounds across the course of the season, and of course it wasn't until late on until the bad luck finally found him in that Team CBR General Tire machine. And let's go ahead and talk to the man that comes into this season finale with the points lead, Connor Barry, standing by with Dave Arnold.
Connor, if you just qualified out there, you didn't get the top spot, but you still got a points over Luke. What are your thoughts in your mind? I mean, it makes you a little bit nervous going into the heat races, but let alone thinking about that main event and that, the start.
We entered with a 7-point cap, and we got 4 more, so it's already up to 11. But it's definitely going to be hard because he is fast, and he is in the 3rd heat, and the invert is actually a 3. So if he's able to win that heat race, he's going to be on pole, and then so it's going to be a battle, and we just got to try, and we need to try to get through. We just need to try to get through that start, and just hope it's good. Our truck is fast. We put in a ton of work, and I qualified P2, and my teammate wasn't first, so it's gonna be good, and just hopefully it works out.
So you and Jacob have been turning a lot of laps on Crandon, I see. Then
yeah, a bunch. Yeah.
Well, let's talk. You've had a great season. You came out swinging right after Luke took the first one. You took 3 there. Then Luke came back, backed him up again. And then all of a sudden, got Trenton Briley, Dane Culver, switched it up. Luke won the last one. It's been a little bit since you've been on top of the box. Is that weighing heavily in your mind, the way the season's gone?
A tad bit. I think the biggest thing is ever since I got my 3rd win, which was at Bark, I think, our goal has been to just be consistent. Because I think the biggest thing is we need to go out there and score some points. So I think our goal is always to go out there and win. But sometimes if we have to go and get a third, then it's fine. So I think it's going. I mean, it's definitely it's been there. We're going to win the 8th round, but I pushed high in the final turn and Dane got under me. So it's definitely been there, but our speed's been good, and just we might be able to go out here and win. So it's going to be a battle, and our goal is to be the champion.
Well, I want to say good luck to you. I know we're all wishing everybody good luck out there, but we're also looking for an incredible race here tonight in Crandon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Always great to catch up with Connor, and talk about Luke Knupp, a driver that missed 2 rounds of the championship entirely and still finds himself in contention here at the very end of the season. That splash and go machine, you never miss it on your screens. It's very distinctive as it has worked its way into victory lane as the most winning driver this season, of course, with the 4 wins most recently coming at our Triple Crown event at the Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. Let's have a chat with Luke Knupp, 7 points behind coming into the night. Luke, qualifying not necessarily going the way that you wanted. How are you feeling, though, here at the Big House where, let's be honest, qualifying starting position, it doesn't really mean much?
I disagree with what you just said, Arjun. I think Q means more than a lot of the whole race.
Ooh, okay.
It gives you more points in the heat races. It really just determines how your night's going, and I just lost 4 more, so it's unfortunate because we're always going to be so close, and I never want to wish anyone to have misfortune, but it's going to take some misfortune. So starting second in the heat race, and we'll see what we can do.
You are 100% right in terms of the qualifying points. I don't disagree with you there. Let's talk, though, about, you, Team Gold, how you're feeling coming into the night, because I know you had a chat with us before we went on air. Not going to get to show that to the rest of the viewers, unfortunately, but I know you were saying just how much it means to you and the team to try and come out on top.
Yeah, Team Gold, being the team I'm on, hasn't won a championship yet. They were close in the World Championship Series with Joel Blewett, but we haven't won a series title, so we're going to try to knock off Nitro Circus and Connor, and he's won the last 2, so it'd be cool to get back in on the top step of the podium for points.
Best of luck tonight, Luke. Championships on the line. Can't wait to see how it all goes.
Thank you.
Always great to catch up with these drivers, and both Luke Knupp and Connor Barry, fortunately, not in our first heat, and so do not have to go straight from chatting with us to focusing on the racing. But at this time, it's time to kick off our opening ceremonies, and for us to throw it down to Steve from Racers for Christ for today's prayer.
Hello, racers. I'm Chaplain Steve with Racers for Christ. I know today's a big day, a big race, but before we drop the hammer and peel out, I want to take a moment to pray for you guys. So bow with me as we pray. Thank you. Father, we just thank you so much for the opportunity to come out here and race and enjoy the spirit of competition. Pray for each of these racers in their lives, no matter what race they're in, that you would be real in their lives. And Father, we pray for the men and women that protect the freedoms of our country. We pray for our country as a whole to be more like you. And Father, we pray that for each of us, that we would be more like you, and that we would strive and seek you just like we seek that checkered flag today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
The drivers are lined up and ready to go. Just one final order of business here. It's time for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. ready to decide our 2024 champion. Let's head down to the starting grid for the first of our heat races to get ready to go for the main event. Jacob Rafoss stole a championship point away from his Nitro Circus Sim Racing teammate Connor Barry. What can he do though? Alongside of Crystal King, Nicholas Dachelet, Sean Winkler, Trenton Bradley, Nathan Matoxen, and then of course, still of course on the front row in the Land Rush start, Brent Smith and Dennis Mickelson. Arjuna Kankipati alongside of Dave Arnold as we get ready to go racing. And Dave, the opening ceremonies are done and dusted. All we've got time to do now is start the engines and set the drivers loose. How excited are you about what we've got in store?
Oh, I mean, it's just Crandon. It's always exciting, man. These guys are going to bring it. We got the best of the best out there racing in the iRacing Short Course Series. And this is the main event, or the last race, I should say, that the main event will come. But this is going to see who's going to go to the main event. Let's get it going.
And remember, we do have to wrap our way all the way around before we start the first official lap. It means that effectively we get 5 laps in each of these heats, and away we go for the very first time. Inside line may be the best place to be, and already Nitro Circus Sim Racing and Jacob Rafoss trying to stretch away. You can see behind Crystal King has slotted into the line, but behind Sly Job, Nicholas Dachelet going to try and take advantage. Watch Sean Winkler as well. He'll make it 3 wide in the air. Long left-hander. He'll get boxed out. Jacob Rafoss leads though at the end of the opening couple of corners.
And I'll tell you, Dachelet had a nice move. He went right up between them. He got a little smashed and beaten on there, but absolutely incredible. Crystal King, though, great start. Winkler trying to get up into the battle there. You can see this ain't over. Look at this. We've got 2 battling for third. First and second are battling. We got a battle for third also developing. And to the inside is that Trenton Briley and Brent Smith. Brent's sliding back just a little bit there. That's Nathan Matoxen actually in the rear bringing it up.
Our timing sometimes goes a little haywire until they get to the line. Now Mickelson and Matoxen I think had a bit of a slip up down the back and had seen Mickelson go around, but as we officially start the first flying lap, Brent Smith gets pushed forward to second by a shove from Crystal King. Dachelet down to third, and remember the fight really going to be for fourth. The final of the positions that automatically takes you to the feature. They're going to get all crossed up out of tree turn, 3 wide off the corner for the race lead.
Yeah, great move there. Brent Smith staying on the outside there, but Dachelet making a big run up. It looks like he's going to move into that second position behind Raffas. And look at this. There he goes. Dachelet makes it stick this time. You can see Brent Smith, trying to hold on to position. Now we're going to go back to another battle. Crystal King and Trenton Briley going at it. So they come around by the barn under the Ponzi sign and skybox.
So many great places I would feel to go and just watch all of this action, because every corner presents its own different passing opportunity. There's a look at young Jacob Rafoss, who as ever looks serious behind the wheel. Every time he stares up into that camera, it feels like he's looking directly into your soul. He'll lead us out of Calamity Corner though. A little bit of fiberglass going askew on the right rear as across the line. That was the end of the opening lap, if you can believe it. We have only just started lap 2.
I know, it's incredible. It's how long this track actually is. You think it's going to be wide open and you can pass. No, this thing, you got to be right in the right line, and you better have the momentum, and you better make that pass stick, because you're going to run out of track real quick.
Sean Winkler, there's a big puff of air there. Doesn't look happy, and the great thing about VR, watch the head go to the right. He throws the slide job, parks it in front of Brent Smith. Oh, that was beautiful.
Anyway, his neck's getting a lot of work out there for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's just incredible watching Brent Smith and Winkler with a nice move there, able to slide up there, and it looks like Brent's going to start getting a little heat from Crystal King. Was it top 4 going to qualify?
Yes, sir.
That's right there. That's the bubble. That's where he's sitting right there. He's going to start feeling pressure here soon.
That was meant to be Trenton Briley, but apparently his camera's got lost in the void. 3 wide, Crystal King gets a bit squeezed. It's going to be up the inside potentially for Briley if the Team Gold Machine can make it work. Dropping backwards in the queue goes Brent Smith, but now we'll go halfway through this seat. It's funny, by the way, you mentioned neck getting a workout, because Sim Racers necks, because of some of the equipment that we use and all the forces that it can put out, actually can get quite strong. And I was out at the Atlanta Motorsports Park last week where some sim racers were getting some drives in real cars, and there was a story being told about one of them where they couldn't get the Hans device around their neck because it was so chunky from sim racing, if you can believe it. So sim racing's good for exercise. That's the story we're trying to tell you.
Well, your legs may be tired or a little weak, but your neck's strong as an ox.
I mean, for those who have not put a Hans device on as well, those are
Yes.
uncomfortable things, but I can imagine, especially in these sort of trucks, we sometimes get to laugh about trucks going end over end. That would be rather uncomfortable. A Hans device, very, very useful in that situation.
Well, yeah, there's also lots of different types of neck braces that we race with, too. You know, it's more of a neck restraint. Hans is more of just a particular brand. And you can get a lot of them custom made, and they're actually not bad.
Yeah, Hans at this point is kind of, for me, like, you know how they say vacuum Hoover? It's that sort of
Jacuzzi, spa.
Exactly, that brand association. Dashley, by the way, will get ready to cross over to the final lap. He is really putting the pressure onto Jacob Rafoss up front. He is looking to close out the season, not just with that special livery, but potentially with a win as well. And, you know, if he's fighting for the win, it takes points away from Connor Barry and from Luke Knupp. That's something that, when we get to the main event, especially either side of the competition caution, Dave, I think we are really going to be talking about.
Well, yeah, and also there's, you know, the fastest, you know, lap. There's all these other points that those two have to worry about losing, you know, points here and there. You know, heat race wins, you know, fastest lap when we get into it. Well, that wasn't good. We got some fiberglass flying out there as we're talking a little bit. Looks like Matoxin and Nathan Mickelson, I'm sorry, Dennis Mickelson getting tied up there.
Yeah, I think that was a look back at what happened on the opening lap. So I say opening lap. Technically, I think that's just after you've crossed the line to start lap number 1. So one of those confusing things. Rafoss can, I think, be comfortable, though. Dashley got a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too eager, and so now a little bit too far behind, down into that penultimate turn to really send the slide job. Just Calamity Corner left to go here up front. And, of course, in the battle for the transfer spot, Crystal King has been able to reassert her authority over Trenton Briley, and it looks as though it will be comfortable for them. At the line, though, will we see a photo finish? Dashley's giving the shove, the rub to Jacob Rafoss. Look at the tree for a moment, apparently, but Crystal King holds on to 4th. Jacob Rafoss holds on to the win.
Yeah, incredible. You can see that Nicholas Dashley was trying to get that nose in, trying to get the shoehorn out, as I like to say, and squeeze it away. And that's how we actually watched Knuckles Up take the win there in the last time at Crandon Short. Culver.
At least our cameras only went missing once today, rather than many more times than they did when we last came here at Crandon Short. No need to go back to the replay machine and to watch that. Of course, let's not forget that we've got 2 more of these heats left to go, where 4 more drivers from each of them will advance. We're talking small margins at the end of the day as well between each of these different drivers. Crystal King and Trenton Briley, yes, separated by a second, but only 3 seconds off of your leader for Briley in that Team Gold machine. Over, though, to Heat 2, where at least one of those championship contenders will look to try and stay out of trouble. Connor Barry will be on the very inside with Tyson Miller, and then Keaton Swain. Watch for the feisty 21 Sim Coaches Factory SimSport entry alongside the Plum machine for Christopher Plumley, and then Cody Retzlaff and Oliver Golding 5th and 6th, and then just Taylor Vandenbush and Zachary Drapkin alongside. Don't expect to see Zachary Drapkin here. Yes. The word, Dave, from the pit lane was that he's still got one more exam to take, but we might see him later on today.
Yeah, I actually was texting with him about it, and he said he's in his last class of the year, the last exam, but he's going to make the LCQ. He doesn't care if he starts in the back. He wants to be here. He wants to race the last race here at iRacing Short Course in Crandon.
That's commitment. That's how you know just how much Zachary Drapkin loves being out here in the virtual world. But the drivers now have their attention towards the green flag. It will drop, and away we'll send 7 of these Pro 4 truck machines, 900-odd horsepower for each of them to deal with. And on the very outside, Zachary Drapkin has indeed made it to the grid. He'll roll the speed around the outside, but get a little bit of a hip check. In front, though, it's Connor Barry defending from Keaton Swain. The Terminator Tyson Miller's been swarmed. Watch for Cody Retzlaff, for Christopher Plumley to try and slide up the inside.
Yeah, it looks like Tyson Miller's going to tuck him behind Swain there. Connor Barry's going to get the lead. And yeah, I guess with our little delay, with the little interviews, Zach was actually able to make it in time, so that's very cool.
So we're advocating, therefore, for the drivers to let us know in advance. So Carl Larson style, we can slightly hold the start of any important races moving forward. Now, big send from behind already, by the way. Zachary Drapkin trying to make his way on forward. But the start of the official first lap, we'll see two drivers trying to break away up front. Big send from Cody Ratzlaff over the line in the air. Doesn't manage to push Tyson Miller out wide. Just gives Christopher Plumley the chance to get himself back up to fourth.
And boy, Drapkin told me he was going to try and bring the hammer. He better get the sledgehammer out there. But this gives him a second chance. But I think a great race we're watching. Christopher Plumley, Tyson Miller, and of course, Keaton Swain all over the back of Connor Berry.
There's a look on board. Remember, down here at this tree corner, you can be 3, you can be 4 wide. It doesn't always end well. Wide eyes potentially for Zachary Drapkin is in front of him. Retzlaff and Tyson Miller still slipping, sliding in towards that turn 5. Down the hill, look how fast they slide as well. But all as, of course, Swain and Barry now 2.5 seconds clear up front. Only 2 of these drivers likely to move on forward. Plumley out wide.
And I'll tell you, Cody Ratzlaff's on a mission there. From fishtailing to fighting to beating and banging on doors right now. Drapkin looking up the inside of Cody Ratzlaff right now, trying to push him out through the gravel pit there. Tyson Miller goes really wide. Now Drapkin's going to be side by side as they head over the Polaris Razor jump. Oh, look at this. Into Calamity Corner. I'm predicting Calamity.
A 2x2, 3 rows deep. Cody Retzlaff tries to drive over the Terminator, all as Zachary Drapkin goes from not qualifying to 3rd here in the second heat of the night. Great drive for him through the field. Let's not forget one thing though, front of the field, Connor Barry, as much as Keaton Swain has not put the pressure on just yet. Dave, 2 points for winning this heat. Definitely not something you want to give up.
No, not at all. And you can see that Connor Berry and Keaton Swain on another level right now. These two, they're able to fight. And they're not really that close, but they're close enough where he could push Connor to go a little bit quicker. Now, when you get back there with Tyson Miller, Oliver Golden, Cody Ratzlaff, Panda Bush, Christopher Plumley, Zach Drapkin, and these guys, they are all over each other. I saw a little net coding going on.
Yeah, I think Zach's having a bit of an internet issue, and so he's done the wise thing, dropped to the back of the field, does not want to cause any issues for others around. He was only planning to be in the LCQs anyway, so, this is just going according to plan. Side by side, and this is for the final of the transfer spots. Oliver Golding on the outside has already lost the right rear fiberglass on his number 70. Cody Retzlaff on the inside's been in all of the action so far. Vanden Bush and Plumley still behind and could make their way on forward with 2 laps still left to go.
Yeah, Ratzlaff, I think, should have cut down a little earlier. He stayed a little wide there. But, he's still got a little time here to work on Oliver Golding on that position. But Golding, he's going to get his elbows about 10 feet wide as they enter the Walker Evans banner there through Argonne Corner. And look at the speed right now of our leaders, Connor Berry, Keaton Swain, as we watch the battle right now with Oliver Golding and Cody Ratzlaff down in the right-hand corner. Oh, man.
Still trying to argue, but I do feel as though right now with the margin they have, they've got to be a little concerned that they've let Tyson Miller just run away and escape with, I think, a rather comfortable 3rd place. Golding slides up into the pink and grey machine, but Retzlaff still with the inside. Behind, Plumley's got it in front of Vanden Bush once more, so they'll see the white flag this time by, and the Plum machine going to go on the offense. We know how aggressive he can be, but what opportunities does he have in store?
Yeah, he's just watching the battle between Ratzlaff and Oliver Golding right now. If these two take each other out, Plumley might be in a great position there. When you look at it back and forth, it's Ratzlaff, it's Golding, it's Ratzlaff, it's Golding. Golding's got the inside line. Ratzlaff's going to get on the binders, try and stay close to the tail to dive back underneath. Oh, a little contact there. Gets him a little bit out of his shape. Looks like he's able to get the power, yep.
Slows them both down, though, and we're on to the final lap here. Your leaders separated out slightly. Not sure if Keaton Swain maybe made a little bit of a mistake, but Oliver Golding now just going to be focused on the rearview mirror and a couple of crucial corners. This one in particular, on this back straightaway, the heaviest braking zone of the lap, the one place where, Dave, you've got to watch and maybe cover the inside proactively, because slide jobs galore may come inside.
Oh, absolutely. Cowboys Corner is just notorious for that. I've seen guys use the outside and carry a lot of momentum, or they just go in, dive to the inside and pivot turn, and still maybe a little slow, but they made up so much ground from the guy on the outside that's spinning his wheels and taking traction away.
It's for the most part, been a fairly respectable sort of 2 heats. Now, we've still got one more of them to go, so I'm hoping I just haven't jinxed it right there, but you never know. The LCQs are traditionally where we do expect the craziness to be. Now, that is not as aggressive maybe through the final corner as you might have expected it to be. At the front of the field, Connor Barry knows 2 more points going his way, and 2 very valuable points as well. Behind, Tyson Miller comfortably in 3rd. Drag race to the line. Christopher Plumley gets to the inside, and he makes his way on forward. Oh, my heavens. How did he do that?
Well, I think how he did that was Oliver Golding and Ratzliff were fighting it out. And I think those two with the contact they're having, we didn't see it, but I think it was coming off right there at the Players Razor ramp. Those guys were having a lot of contact.
Maybe we can take a look at the replay before we go racing for the final of our heats. But again, confirmation of the results and Factory Sim Sport, courtesy of that move. And, barring race control not intervening, should feel rather comfortable in moving a couple of their machines, of course, on forward to the next part of the main event. Of course, for Golding, Retzlaff, Drapkin, and Vandenbush, still some work to do. But in the 3rd and final heat, it'll be Dane Culver, a race winner this season, that lines up alongside Luke Knupp with some work to do. Cody Winicki, Matthew Lindy, Cameron McGijic, and then Brock Smith, your top 6. Back to 7th to find Dennis Crosby, and only 7 machines going to fight here for the 4 positions, so just keep that in mind. It's definitely not, it's going to be maybe a little bit less of a crazy and hectic fight. As mentioned, I think we'll get the chance to go back in time and watch on the replay what happened here through the final 2 corners.
She comes over right after that. That's where there's contact. Little bump, pushed them both wide. Here comes Plumley right up the inside.
And that is what opportunistic passing is all about, seeing the chances, sitting back, and being ready to take your spot. Wow, that is a example, a masterclass, Dave, on how you should be racing.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, I've been in racing situation, and it's literally like the light. There's a light just opens up and you see it, and you just go for it. You're just like, how did that just happen? Divine intervention.
Wow. I'm still a bit in awe, by the way, of that finish, because I kind of assumed, maybe we'll see a bit of argy-bargy to the line. Did not expect, out of nowhere, the Dirty Plum machine to be there and moving on forward. The engines roar, and a jump start for Dennis Crosby. That will see him surely not advance. He pulls to the left. Instead, watch for Dane Culver and Luke Knupp on the very inside. Who is going to be the most aggressive here? Luke Knupp must grab the win and the 2 points that come with it. He'll, though, be the long way around, and in fact drops back down. Dane Culver challenged by Cody Winicki. 3 and 4 wide, truck flipping end over end. That was Matthew Lindy, who somehow lands on all 4 wheels, but here we go with still the battle for the lead raging on.
Yeah, great move there with Winicki, though. Culver right in behind him. He's going to look to the inside, so he slides it around, and you can see Luke Knupp is also going to try and maneuver to the outside. Knupp's pretty good at this. Watch this maneuver here. He just stays middle preferred line, keeps his momentum up. He knows he doesn't have to make a pass right now. It's still early on. He's just setting these guys up. But you know what? Dane Culver, he knows how to win at Crandon.
So the margins, the margins we have behind, I'm sure these 4 are aware of the fact that they surely don't need to fight too hard. I'm not sure if they know that Dennis Crosby jump started and therefore is not going to advance anyway, and so therefore, unless Cameron McGijic and Matthew Lindy close back up, they're not going to move on forward. Now, Dane Culver almost enters the corner backwards. Doesn't work out for him on corner exit. Instead, it's Knupp that challenges Winicki the long way around. Doesn't get the drive off the corner, though, and so the Team Gold Splash and Go machine stuck in 2nd as we work our way, of course, still on this opening lap.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, Dane Culver backed that thing in like Kyle at Duke, and look at this. Luke Knupp is going to try and back it in again on our leader, Cody Winicki, right now. He's looking at the inside. He's got a fender on him. He's going to be setting up for the inside line for the gravel pit. Knupp's going to dive low here, Winicki. And Culver's going to try and come back down low.
Can
Winicki move over? That's the question.
This is an opening lap from a driver that recognizes championship is A, on the line, but B, he can't afford to be too aggressive and risk race control dinging him. Remember, he has stayed out of the naughty books. Connor Barry, the one that has been slightly pegged back by the stewards. Luke Knupp back on top, end of the opening lap, as cool as you could be for a race car driver as well. Sits there in the dark, and now with 3 laps left to hold on.
And you can see when Nicky's trying to work on Knupp, and you're right. You know, Luke keeping a cool, calm head. Be smooth. Be in the moment. Don't worry about everybody else. If you're out front, run your lines. Run your race. Because if you got fast lines, nobody's going to catch you.
And these four could very much find themselves, again, you see the margin back to Cameron McGigick, to Matthew Lindy, just heading out through turn 4 right now. You see Dane Culver on the left, Luke Knupp on the right. When we get into the main event, the championship is on the line. We'll have both the championship contenders up on screen, and we'll know exactly what's happening based on their reactions. It's the great thing about sim racing, and the one thing that I think a lot of real-world drivers, Dave, when they come over to the sim world and they compete in some of these big championships, especially some of the ones where you're required to be on camera the entire time, they don't realize just how much the commentators sit here and look, A, what's happening behind them, but B, what's happening on their face.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, during the pandemic, it was so fun to watch a lot of the NASCAR drivers that you don't get to see all of them, and they're showing all of them, and the faces, the looks, and you had guys like Luke Knupp that are calm, and then you got Dane Culver, who's just fully animated out there. I love it.
Tongue going sideways everywhere. You know, that's just the Dane Culver kind of driver, and he's not the only one. Here's a look, by the way, race start, what happened. Wow. Again, you can't necessarily be 4 wide, but as they come over, the crest, now both Matthew Lindy and Cameron McGigick, I'm pretty sure, hit the stanchion in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I think McGigick, I haven't seen a maneuver like that since Adrian Cheney in his barrel roll, and pulled it off.
I mean, 10 out of 10 on the landing, right?
Yeah. It's just the darn K-rail got in the way.
Oh, wow. That was something. Would have been a ride in VR, which I don't think Matthew Lindy is in, fortunately. Not sure on Cameron McGigick. White flag this time by, though, is up front Cody Winicki. He's making his presence known, and again, goes back to what we were talking about with the likes of Jacob Rafoss. You might not be fighting for the championship at the front of the field, but you're fighting for the race win and taking points away from the Barry and Knupp, who might need them heading into the final laps.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw what just happened with just a few trucks out there in the start. Imagine a full field. Somebody does that in the front. You could take literally a half to 3/4 of the field out and let everybody just walk away that's still running. There's always scenarios, and I've seen it at Crandon.
This is such a wonderful facility. 1.5 miles, much like Bark River, but it's flowing in its own way, and it's got a couple more of these very stop-start corners in a different way. There you see off of this crucial turn 4, different lines give you different drive, and that's kind of to be expected, and some of these drivers may be experimenting a little bit. Remember, the dirt going to go through an evolution. By the time we get to the main event, the track will have maybe slicked on over, and we may be talking a little bit about the Blue Groove.
Yeah, a little Blue Groove, a little dry slick out there. Impressed with Brock Smith right now, holding strong in 4th. Doesn't have to push it too much. It looks like he's got a good gap back to Cameron McGigick, sorry. Boy, I tripping all over my tongue today on that one.
Don't worry. As anyone who will watch RaceSpot TV knows, when you see so many names, unfortunately, you're bound to butcher a few here and there. No butchering, though, who's going to win this race. Luke Knupp does what he needs to, wins the final heat, grabs 2 valuable championship points, and minimizes any more bleeding to the points leader. Cody Winicki and Dane Culver separated by 1/10 of a second at the line. You can finish in the air if you want to. Now just wait for Matthew Lindy and for Dennis Crosby to finish up, of course, after their respective incidents. And Dennis Crosby going to be at the very back after the jump start as well. Something slightly unique, of course, about the land rush that you can't do at any of the other races, where we have the 2x2 rolling start. Here instead, land rush standing start, and very much on the blocks as you were. Very easy to just be slightly caught off guard, to be a little bit too optimistic, and to make that crucial mistake. Now, just the LCQs left to go. Luke Knupp's Team Gold Esport machine, though, not going to have to fight his way through. Cody Winicki, Dane Culver, Brock Smith also advanced. McGigick, Lindy, lap 1 incidents unfortunately drop you back, as this can be said for Dennis Crosby, before the green flag even flies. And this is how the first of the LCQs gets ready to go. 5 will enter, and I believe 3 to move on forward. So really, do not want to be fighting too hard. Trenton Browley, Cameron McGizick, Cody Retzlaff, Nathan Matoxin, and Dennis Crosby. 5 trucks ready to go, and once again, 4+1 laps of racing.
Tell you. Hey, by the way, I think I saw in that dark room a little grin came out of Luke Knupp's face after he took that win. That was pretty cool to see.
And he was so right when he called me out in our interview right after qualifying for saying, you know what, maybe qualifying not so important here. In many ways, it's not, right? The invert not as important, but
Points.
It's as simple as that.
And Luke knows from the old days when I was racing the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series, it came down to in the mod karts, just a couple points, and they're structured the exact same way that we ran it back in the real series.
From behind the trees, we get ready to go as once again 900 horsepower at the disposal of the right foot, but this time with just 5 drivers, 3 to advance and 2 to be done for 2024's National Series, powered by Next Level Racing. Great jump there from Vegas's Trenton Riley. Down in through the opening corner, they will slide, and away in second for Cameron McGijic. We saw Cody Retzlaff in that grey and pink machine be involved in all of the action in his respective heat. Nathan Matoxin trying to get to the inside. Dennis Crosby not jump starting. All 5 still in contention as we get ready to cross the line to begin officially the opening lap.
And McGigish, I'll tell you, he is right on Trenton Briley right now. Literally was leaning on him. You can see Matoxin getting a little bit of company from Dennis Crosby as we go. Megashik is also trying to hold off the advancement there of Nathan Matoxin. So he's got to chase Trenton Riley, but he's it's a qualifying position. He's got to really, really protect that from Cody Ratzliff, who's now up in there. He got by Matoxin. Matoxin drops back, and Crosby now bringing up the rear.
You got to be very careful here. If you let Trenton Briley run away, he will take advantage and not look back. Same can be said for any of these drivers, though. Remember, we do have one more of these LCQs left to come after this. No points to be paid out. It's just about making your way into the main event. Cody Retzlaff does not get a good run off the corner, and instead it's going to be off and away in second for Cameron McGijic. Nathan Matoxin, Dennis Crosby still lying in wait and lurking in line as we slide our way through once more, and be very careful about setting your truck up here on the launch. You need to be sideways before you're even in the air, and it's one of those sections where it very much shows where you understand the truck control, as it were, and recognizing that, Dave, you have control of the truck even in midair.
Absolutely. And you're going to set that thing up so it's going to fly and land right. You'll see guys try to rotate in the air. And we talk about backing it in. I've seen guys literally go through the air, get the thing sideways, land, back it into the corner, and pull straight and make a pass. There's a lot of strategies, and it's car control. It's flying the car. You got a flying brick. It's just placing that brick in the right position when you land.
And the inertia, right? It's so important to understand. Now, in these trucks, maybe less important than in the rallycross machines of yesteryear, because in those it was very, very easy to get underside damage that would then slow you down. Here, not saying you can really abuse the truck, but it can take a little bit more. We see some of those great suspension shots sometimes that show just how much travel they really can take. Now, Cody Retzlaff's slide job works on Cameron McGijic. 1.2 now, though, the margin up to Trenton Briley. This is what we were talking about, the worry that sometimes you've got to have. And in the air, back alongside, McGijic tries to get his way back on forward. Caddy Wampus, here comes Matoxin, forward to second.
Matoxin really just saw it opening right there, and it was McGijic is just got out of shape there, and unfortunately him and Cody Ratzliff got tied up just a little bit.
Penultimate corner. How close do they get? Bit of rubbing behind from Matoxin, and Retzlaff, though, pretty clear into the final corner, and 2 to go this time by. Remember, out of the 5 drivers that entered, 3 to move forward, 2 to be done for the 2024 season, and we don't want to see any of these drivers, of course, miss out on the main event. But it's slightly different from the Triple Crown racing that we had last time out. Oh, look how close Cody Retzlaff gets. Tries to compromise Matoxin down into turn 4.
Yeah, Matoxin really fought back on that one for, coming. I thought Cody was going to be able to slide right up in there, but he just got those elbows out. Let's see how the line changes up here. You can see that Megashik also goes a little wide there, loses a little ground. But Matoxin with a beautiful line out there, Ratzliff could do nothing but follow. Oh, look at this. Ratzliff trying to split off, but Metoxen cut his line right off as he saw that move.
And that's not really, let's be honest, a passing spot. It's a place you can poke your nose, but at high speed you're risking more than you can really gain. Cody Retzlaff leans once again, though, on Nathan Metoxen in that just a trim machine, trimming the margin back to Cameron McGijic, who's gone off into the grass. He's so willing to try and open up the corner. I've got to say, different lines being run always brings a smile to my face. Retzlaff back to second now, white flag in hand. One more lap in this first LCQ. Does Cameron McGijic have it in him to find his way past Nathan Metoxen with 1.5 miles left to go?
McGishic's trying to just hang that thing out. You know what? He's got Bull Lake on the side, right down the road there from Crandon, a local. And what do you want to do if you're local? You want to get on the box in Crandon. That's just an awesome feeling there. It's like winning in your own hometown.
And, you know, I look at this track as well, Dave. I mentioned plenty of places to go and watch the racing. Where is the best place to go and watch racing here at Crandon?
I mean, it's great in the VIP skybox that we always talk about. But let me just tell you, the grandstands there, watching it unfold there at 100 miles an hour past you on that turn one, it's just insane.
You know, I think that was the answer I was kind of expecting. Now, I told you I'm going to the Indy 500 this coming weekend. I've been to the Speedway a couple of years ago as a guest of Porsche. We were there for an esports event, and they spoiled us, right? So we were in the Pagoda. It was great. But there is nothing like being at the Indy 500, sitting in turn one with the roar of the fans, your 350,000 people. I think Crandon's probably got that sort of atmosphere, environment as well. That's why it's so special, why they all want to win. And Trenton Browley heads across the line, moves his way forward to the main event. Cody Retzlaff, Nathan Metoxen will do enough. Cameron McGijic, Dennis Crosby, done for 2024's National Series, but they've had great seasons of overall, and we know that, Dave, they'll be back and ready to race better than ever next time in this National Series.
Oh, absolutely. Another great place to hang out is on the barn up there on the deck. You can get a good spot there. It's always a good view there also, watching them coming right through there. So you get the great shot as they come up there.
We're going to need to get Dave's approved list of seating positions for Crandon, and then we'll have a bingo card. Whoever can check them off first wins a prize or something on RaceSpot. Again, confirmation of the results. Race Control said no changes. And so McGijic and Crosby done for the day, and mentioned, of course, got one more of the LCQs, and we got apparently one more truck as well entered. So Oliver Golding, Brent Smith, Matthew Lindy, Zachary Drapkin, Dennis Mickelson, and Taylor Vandenbush enter. Remember, 3 to move on forward. And I'll be honest, I don't quite know who's going to come out on top in this one. All I do know is that Zachary Drapkin was willing to send it. If he's got his internet issues fixed, Dave, he's the one to watch to try and break away at the front.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, Brent Smith also wants to get up there. His brother's already made it to the dance. Now he's got to join him.
So I think now just drivers getting ready for Race Control to give them their marching instructions to focus up towards the flag and to then get the 900 horsepower ready to be unleashed. And it's a rather bumpy start. Have seen, the inside, I don't want to say be the best, but definitely be the optimal potential grip to get you launched into that opening corner. Yellow lights now begin to build before the drivers get unleashed, and as Race Control watches on, being a quiet night overall for them, will it continue from the big house in the final of the LCQs? Watch the truck squat down and launch. Around the outside, potentially, watch for Dennis Mickelson in the orange machine to try and make something happen. But the best start, of course, Oliver Golding on the inside, diving down through the opening corner. Drapkin underneath of Lindy, gets stuck behind of Brent Smith. Into the air, long left-hander, 2x2. Look at the launch from the 45.
And Brent Smith just launched right up the inside, but he tags the wall. They're going to get a chance for Oliver Golding to get up next to him there. Look at Lindy trying to make a run. We're going to have 3 wide, maybe 4 wide. Zach Drapkin's trying to get in the fight. Dives all the way through the crowd. Oh, gets up on the bicycle, gets down. Oh my goodness, what an insane LCQ.
I said Race Control hasn't had much to do, so those drivers heard it and took it as a challenge, because pretty sure Mickelson going to get investigated for the penultimate corner and let's be honest, no way to dance around it, send that he had. Drapkin now returns the favor through the second corner, slithering back towards this left-hander that sees more contact for Dennis Mickelson, who forces Oliver Golding out of the way.
And there they go. Back down, heading towards Cowboys corner again. This is going to be interesting. Matthew Lindy out front. Mickelson's going to dive low, but Drapkin dives even deeper. into it. Oliver Golding takes the outside, keeps it sliding. You can see Lindy starting to stretch it out just a little bit there. Now, look at Mickelson. Now, the question is going to be Mickelson, if there's any calls, is he still a factor? But Oliver Golding in that final transfer position, Drapkin just outside the bubble.
And so I can tell you Zachary Drapkin has done the smart thing, which is, when you have internet issues, turn off your webcam. The broadcast doesn't need that. We'd much rather see you in the thick of the fight, so we're not going to get to see behind the scenes, and maybe get a bit of dog camera from Zach Drapkin as well, who's got some adorable puppies. But Matthew Lindy, trophies behind him, back out in front after what was, let's be honest, rather dramatic opening couple of corners for him in his heat. Now leads with 2 laps, or rather 3 laps still left to go, because they've just crossed the line and finished the first official lap.
Yeah, and you see all these guys with all these fancy rigs. Lindy seems like he's got a very simple setup there, and he's out leading a LCQ right now. That's all talent.
I love as well, right, we've got such a deep field. You never know who's going to be in an LCQ, because Dennis Mickelson, 7,700 I rating, which is plenty of I rating, and he needs to stop hogging it all and share it around just a little bit more. Compare that, of course, to the lowest I rated driver in the field, who's technically Brent Smith, but is proving to put up quite a fight, and again showing that I rating not really maybe the most accurate measure of a driver's ability. Drapkin in front, though, of Smith has cost them a little bit of time. We'll have 2 laps to go. Oliver Golding and Dennis Mickelson maybe holding strong.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting. Golding, holding on to the last qualifying position. There's a little bit of gap back to Drapkin. So Drapkin's got to get some forward momentum going up to Golding to get into the fight there if he's going to qualify. Lindy, he's got right in his groove. He's in his, he's got his race pace. And that's what he needs to stay at.
After this, of course, we'll have a brief break before we go racing for the main event. So the drivers that have had a frantic time in either an LCQ or the respective heat before and still are trying to calm down the heart rate don't have to immediately go racing once more. The drivers that have been waiting, had a less dramatic heat, for example, went straight on through, well, they get a chance to go out there and warm up once more and get ready to go racing. Now, Oliver Golding and Dennis Mickelson don't necessarily think that they need to fight too much, but Zachary Drapkin is closing, and so they will maybe keep that in mind. Race control has not determined any penalty just yet, but you have to think if Mickelson gets involved in any more contact, he's already on a very short leash.
Yeah, definitely, and that's always a question there. And you can see a little bit of contact there with Golding as he rubs on him just a little bit. As they go over the Red Bull side by side. Drapkin now looking up the inside, trying to make a move on him, but they have some great fast momentum on the outside.
That was great from Drapkin, took advantage, but now 3 wide. Mickelson shoves Drapkin into Golding, and now watch through this penultimate corner. If there's more contact, I think race control may be forced to eventually make their way into the battle. Fiberglass goes flying, but we don't need that. We can reattach that when we have our brief break, our brief interlude. Very, very wide for Mickelson. Drapkin going to try and block his way on through. The red line or machine is now in third. 1.5 miles still left to go.
And you can see he filled that line perfectly. He wanted to be there, so Mickelson couldn't get a maneuver or get by him there. Just enough fender out there, but you can see fender's missing on the right front there of Drapkin as he leans on Golding just a little bit. And he's making a move on Golding up the inside.
Oh, now into this final turn, run into turn 4. Drapkin throws the slider. Mickelson did as well. Oliver Golding going to lose out, unfortunately, is behind. Brent Smith and Taylor Vandenbush going to fight their way to the end of their 2024 campaigns. Side by side for a moment, down into turn 5. Mickelson behind once more. Just a handful more corners left to go.
And Mickelson, is trying to make his maneuvers, get around there. Golding filled the spot, put his rear end right in front of the nose to try and block that line. You just saw Mickelson trying to move over. It looks like he scrubbed a little speed off, but talk about not backing off. These drivers are intense. Here we go. The checkered flag is coming out. Lindy, it's not going to be a problem for her. Now the question is, Mickelson or Golding?
Matthew Lindy is not even going to break a sweat, although he just pumped the air for a second as he comes across the line. Drag race to the checkered, and it will be Oliver Golding, although they do wreck and make contact across the line. I'm sure Race Control will take a look at that, but ultimately we were wondering when the physicality would start. Race Control has already said no changes in that final LCQ as far as I can tell, and so we are ready to go. The 18 trucks have been confirmed to make their way into the main event, and Matthew Lindy, Zachary Drapkin, and Oliver Golding will have one more chance to fight. What a story for Zachary Drapkin as well, right? Because he, internet issue, exam, still finally makes his way into the main event, and while he is not fighting anymore for what would have been third and I think fourth in the championship, still looking to close out his season on a high.
Oh yeah, it's just absolutely incredible, all these drivers and what they have to do to overcome. And we saw with Luke throughout the the season, had to go out and do some real life racing. He was down in Baja, couldn't do it, had to drop 2 races still in the fight. Drapkin, he's up there in points, but he just wanted to finish out the season good. Exams, like you mentioned, net coding, internet problems, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. All these drivers are just going to be all pumped to beat in the main event.
And that comes up next here on RaceBot TV, the final showdown, ready to crown our 2024 champion. Don't go anywhere here on RaceBot TV. And then it came down to 12 final laps in the 2024 iRacing Short Course National Series, presented by Next Level Racing. Luke Knupp and Connor Barry have put a show on so far, but now how do they play it out here at the Big House? We're about to find out, and we're glad you've joined us here on RaceSpot TV for the Championship Showdown. Our Junior Kanki Party joined alongside of Dave Arnold, and Dave, we were just talking about various championship situations. If it finishes as they start this main event, it will be 9 points the difference between them. That means about 5 positions that Connor Barry has to lose. It sounds so simple, but these drivers are going to push till the very end.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to be sitting side by side. It looks like they're going to line up. This is going to be absolutely incredible. Excuse me.
There's a look at the drivers lined up and ready to go. Let's not keep them waiting too much longer. Let's run you down trackside to see the starting grid, where it will be Luke Knupp and Connor Barry on the very inside of the 10-wide starting row. Jacob Rafoss, Nicholas Dashley, and then Keaton Swade and Cody Winicki are going to be in the very middle of the inside, front row rather, with Sean Winkler, Tyson Miller, Dane Culver, and then Crystal King, the rest of your top 10. Down to 11th, and inside of row 2 to find Christopher Plumley with Brock Smith then in 12th, and then Trenton Browley, Matthew Lindy, Cody Retzlaff, Zachary Drapkin, Nathan Metoxen, and Oliver Golding get ready to go and the back of the field. Predictions, expectations, I don't know really what I could expect from you, Dave, but I think we're in for a mighty fine championship showdown, and one where I think the winner of the race wins the championship.
I mean, come on. Let's look at Knupp, Barry. I mean, it's side by side. Oh, my gosh. Jacob Raffus. You got Nicholas Dashley. You got Keaton Swain, Cody Winicki. I mean, it is really the big swingers out there. Tyson Miller, Sean Winkler, Dane Culver, Crystal King. Oh, my goodness. Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my.
And here we go. The drivers have been told, focus towards the lights, because they'll build, the engines will rev, and 12 laps of racing for the final time in the 2024 iRacing National Short Course Series presented by Next Level Racing. It's a glorious sight. Up and in the air, Lander a start, 10 wide, down into the opening corner. Luke Knupp may have got the whole shot, and a crucial couple of championship points as well. Not going to wreck behind, but Crystal King was in the wall, and maybe dropping down to the tail end of the field. Connor Barry gets absolutely swarmed though. Jacob Rafoss the second, all as the Splash and Go esports driver. Luke Knupp leads at the front.
Oh man, what a crazy start there. Looks like when Nicky got tied up in that also, but Knupp with a good jump out front. Now the thing is, you can take the win. You got Connor behind you. It's not going to make a difference for the championship. You need about 6 vehicles in front of you, unfortunately, between these two drivers. He's got to finish what? With outside the top 10 is what we were talking?
I think that's probably the easiest way to mathematically think about it, and because if Connor Barry's not finishing on the podium, he's probably finishing outside of the top 10. Such was the intensity that he's brought into this final round. 2-time iRacing Off-Road Championship Series winner, of course, but this is now the top level of short course racing in the virtual world. Keaton Swain has mounted the berm for a second as he runs alongside of Nicholas Dashley. You can see the margin starting to build though. Luke Knupp and Connor Barry at the front, maybe going to start to run away as Dashley and Rafoss fight behind.
With only on our first lap right now, you can see fiberglass already missing, flapping around. Swain keeps on sucking that left front fender under his tires as Raffus looks up the inside of Swain there. And you can see Dashley is just rubbing his nose on the K-rail as he came around. And look at that. These guys are just sideways in the air trying to move it. He's a great shot there, drafting the red oil machine, trying to make his way up through there, the red line.
He's got to the inside of the top 6 already, 10 positions gained, which of course doesn't say much when you talk about the 10 by, well, 8 starting formation that we saw at the beginning of this race. I didn't say that Crystal King got involved in an issue, I think that was correct, but competition caution will fly, let's not forget, at the end of lap number 5. So effectively we'll reset the field, and even if we do see Knupp and Barry run away, could see a restart and a bit of a swarm behind Jacob Rafoss, contact with Keaton Swain. This all checking them up in the train that's trying to hunt down the leaders.
Oh, Raffus with a big hit from behind Swain. Yeah, it looks like he got Dashley a little bit. You can Swain now trying to look up the inside of Dashley. Raffus got tied up in that and gets blocked by Dashley. And you see Drapkin's going to be right on his tail as he drops down into Cowboys corner.
That is such an important corner as well. A, for defense, but B, for trying to get your speed off. And Jacob Rafoss almost trying to wheel his truck in the air. Now, it's what, 7:13 on the west coast of the U.S. Now, Jacob Rafoss lives in Europe. I've just noticed out the window the first sign of light.
Yeah, it's the wee hours in the morning over there. What's missing, though, is all those Coke bottles he usually has in the background.
Because, yes, Jacob Rafos, for those that don't know, is powered by the power of caffeine/Coke. That's his preferred method of intake. Whoa! Keaton Swain gets a bit squeezed by Dane Culver. And meanwhile, front of the field, I mean, there's no disputing that these two have been the class act over the course of the season. And they're proving that at the very end as well, with Luke Knupp and Connor Barry running away at the race lead.
Yeah, the surprising thing is watching Keaton Swain dropping all the way back to 7th. He keeps on going back with Christopher Plumley there. But that inside maneuver by Dane Culver and Keaton Swain, I was like, where did Dane come from? Oh, no, Keaton dropped all the way back. And we can see a great shot, though, of the top two drivers there, Luke Knupp, Connor Barry, as we're on board with Connor Barry, as we're taking a look here. Watch these lines. Connor's going to look to the inside. But great move by Luke Knupp, though. You can see him just accelerate. He got that great hookup.
And you can see as well the live points. It is still close technically in the fight for 6th and 7th between Nicholas Dashalay and a handful further down through the field. And Trenton Brierley, the one in particular that is popping in and off of that pylon on the right. So remember, end of lap 5 will bring the cars to a complete halt, and then grid them up again, and the field will be left in control of Luke Knupp. Instead of the 10-wide start, there will be single file and flying once more. Bit of a margin builds to not just those behind, but Jacob Rafos trying to bridge himself a little bit closer to the lead fight. Zachary Drapkin elbows out, forces Nicholas Dashley out of the way, and now he's up to 4th position.
Man, he must have kicked butt on that exam because he's feeling good right now driving. Dashley and Plumley. Now Swain looking to the inside. Culver right behind him. We go on board right now with Dane Culver. Tongues out right now. Concentration. Little head cock. Trying to figure out Swain. Trying to look for a little daylight.
Now, there's two ways to think about it, right? Either Keaton Swain, or rather, Zachary Drapkin did amazing in the exam and he's feeling so revved up. Or more like me, he did so terribly that he's like, oh, I've got to go and take my anger out on a bunch of these short course drivers, and that's why he's driving angrily through the field.
That's a double-sided coin there for sure.
Maybe we'll get the chance to ask him in a handful of laps' time if he finishes up there in the podium spots. He is hunting down, as Trevor Teal says, the coke-addicted Jacob Rafos, but his teammate, the Nitro Circus Sim Racing driver of Connor Barry, now starting to make his moves up front. It's not really going to matter. If they finish as they are, Barry would be the champion, and it would be somewhat comfortable as well. The live points does not factor in the whole shot and the points that you get for leading at the halfway mark, but that is only 4 points that would go the way of Luke Knupp. It would be single points between the two of them. And until that doubleheader where Trenton Brierley and Dane Culver broke through and grabbed the wins, they had been the two, Dave, that had been trading victories back and forth.
Oh, absolutely. And they're back to doing that right now, trying to trade victories. Barry right now in the sweet spot. But, you know, I always say that race within the race, a lot of things can happen. Is that truck set up for the second half, or was it set up to run the first half of the race? Competition comes out. It's a whole nother race when we re-rack and restock these guys.
I can't quite believe I'm saying this either, but inside of the entire top 10 in the championship, remember, the 9 previous rounds, you're allowed to exclude 2 of them, either if you missed them or you had some crashes and bad luck. But 2 of them get dropped off. To see no changes in this final round where everyone had to make sure they deliver, I think goes to show they're basically all running where they've been over the course of the championship for the most part.
Yeah.
Zachary Drapkin's gotten within, 7 points of Dane Culver? Very, very close in that fight for 4th.
Yeah, that's the incredible thing right now. You see Dane Culver sitting back in 8th, just behind Keaton Swain. Swain's still working on Plumley. It's not something we're used to seeing, but Swain, this has never been his track. He's really, excelled well. Of course, we've seen at Wild West as well as Wild Horse.
And I think as we get to the end of lap 5, competition caution should be in the air, and we'll slow things down, rack them up, and launch them once more to close out the season with a 6-lap shootout. There's Dane Culver alongside of Connor Barry. There is Luke Knupp. Both Dane and Luke like to race in dark rooms, and there's 2 trains of thoughts on that. I don't get it, though, because that to me just seems like your eyes are having to work quite hard. Maybe that's me getting old, me turning 30 this year.
You're still a baby.
Compared to Jacob?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we're talking generations gaps here. But, it's true. You can see Connor's room's lit up. It's bright. there. It's weird. It's like racing at nighttime in the dark, but the screen's bright. So I think it's kind of nice to probably match the ambiance of what's going on the track versus the room.
Is Matthew Lindy playing on his phone in this little break? I think he is.
He's ordering a pizza.
I mean, that's a good idea. I'm hungry right now. 7:20. It sounds like pizza time for me. Sean Winkler's still in VR. I wonder if he's trying to plot how to sell some houses while still in this break right now.
Does he got pop-up windows in there for sale?
Can you imagine? I have always said that is the next evolution, though, in sim racing, is when, as broadcasters, you know how instead of doing ads on the broadcast, we just, change the banners around the track every lap or so.
Yes.
I mean, we're in the virtual world. We might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, right. Throw up a pop-up ad, throw a banner on, digital one. Yeah, I'm just glad they got their clothes on.
Yeah.
Because they are at home.
Yeah. Well, what do they say? It's business from the torso up. It's a party from that down.
That was a COVID meeting.
Yes, that's the COVID meeting policy. Yes.
Yes. Well, the joke, a lot of us broadcasters, over the years, and one day it's going to come to the day we can sit in our office in our underwear, drinking a margarita and announcing a race.
Well,
I'm not going to elaborate on that.
You don't want to be doing that. Let's be honest. You want to be at the track if you can.
Yes. Yes.
But the forces that be, aka budget constraints.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard stories where the IMSA broadcast, sometimes they have the pit reporters that are there on track, Dave, but then the commentators are actually, remote from insert television studio city here so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know exactly how that works. Been there, done that.
Oh, no, it's painful. Anyway, off and away, the drivers will go racing out here of turn 5. The restart zone is positioned in such a way that Luke Knupp has the opportunity to leapfrog himself into the final couple of corners. Trevor Peel says he's watching along in his pickle suit. I wonder if that powers his drivers just that little bit faster. We're about to find out because Connor Barry's in second, Jacob Rafoss is in third, but Luke Knupp's going to lead us off and away, picks up the throttle, and a spin behind. That was not according to the plan, you'd have to think, as they roll their way and their speed up and down through the left-hander. Luke Knupp, Connor Barry, Jacob Rafoss, and Zachary Drapkin at the front. And look at Jacob Rafoss, who's lost the front end on his machine.
Yeah, that thing's not exactly aerodynamic, but then again, this is off-road. Doesn't matter that much. So, well, actually, in real life, believe it or not, when you start losing body parts and fenders, the truck tends to fly a little bit different.
I can believe that.
If you're missing one hood or you're missing one fender, it could actually change a little bit of how that truck maneuvers through the air and flies. A little scary sometimes. And
then you trying to adapt on the fly, right, to what's going on. So not comfortable by any means as Dane Culver, Christopher Plumley right in the heart of the pack fighting as we see the intensity on this restart where drivers really know that they have their chance to fight. Now, Sean Winkler, this is where in VR he's probably looking over to the right. Where are the rest of the drivers? What can I do? Where am I going to get onto the handbrake? And now he throws it up the inside, doesn't even look over to the right because he realized that it was the contact that was going to get him through the corner.
Yeah, he's also wondering where his real estate sign is on the side when he looks over. But great look at this maneuver right here. A great shot.
Crystal.
I mean, just to watch him coming off there, Crystal King, you can see her battling there. Is that Sean Winkler? And then looks like Lindy also.
Yep, Matthew Lindy.
See Winkler and Lindy. Yep.
Lit up room with the trophies behind him. Gives him a little bit more confidence, I'm sure, as well, that he carries all of that experience with him front of the field. Let's see, though, Luke Knupp and Connor Barry, they'll have, 5 laps to go at the end of this one. And with Jacob Rafoss, Zachary Drapkin there as well, this is where Luke Knupp, let's talk championship games here, Dave. Ideally, you want to back up Connor here to those behind. The thing is, Connor's got some help. He's got a teammate in Jacob Rafoss who might not be willing to try and make so many moves.
Yeah, and Rafoss, he's not going to necessarily go into block mode, but he's not going to make it easy for Zach Drapkin to get by him either. He's definitely going to get that truck a lot wider than normal. He knows got to hold that position. But Rafoss, he's wanting us to win. He's going to want to get it there. He knows the laps are running out. 4 laps to go. He knows he's close enough where he can get into the fight, especially if these two start going door to door.
It's apparently 4:23 in the morning for young Jacob. So like you say, wee hours of the morning. Curious how he's going to hold up now. Does Conor Barry want to win this championship by winning out on track? He gets to the inside, up out through turn 6, but does not commit initially. Now slides back up underneath, and they'll be neck and neck down towards that penultimate corner. Handful of laps still left to go. Barry slides to the outside, trying to crisscross this up, but my word, he's going to try and make something happen.
And let's see, he's going to try and get to the inside, see if he can squeeze Luke. Let's see if he can get it on the binders, get it to rotate. Gets right up in the bumper, trying to squeeze that, getting the shoehorn out. Not going to happen yet, but he's trying to set it up here. Keep thinking. Every time I see Luke, I think of the late 80s and early 90s, the bright colors, the Oakleys, the Jet Pilot, the motorcycle leathers, the JT leathers.
That livery, it's so distinctive, right? It's
yeah,
not one that you're going to miss.
Yeah, I love the throwback. And I think he's trying to think he's going to give a seizure to one of the drivers behind him by looking at that thing.
It's tactical. It's a calculated ploy. Off and away from the corner. Now, 3 to go at the line. And Zachary Drapkin dropping back slightly in his Redline All 56, the Racecraft Academy car, with Keaton Swain and Nicholas Dachelet, the ones that are getting stacked up behind as they launch over the Red Bull jump. And again, 3 to go this time by. Conor Barry does not have to make the move, but he's looking, he's hunting, and the track continues to evolve. This is where that blue groove we were mentioning earlier, Dave, starts to come in.
Oh, absolutely. You can already see it's starting to get packed down there. It's a different color of the rest of the track. See Barry, you can see Luke is just trying to hug that corner. So we lost it for a second there, Cowboys corner. Back to Calamity corner. Raf is getting a little bit closer, though.
Our camera,
he might get in there, and it looks like Connor slipped off just a little bit off the pace.
Our camera seems quite fixated on jumping around occasionally. I think that's a couple of hiccups here and there for the driver's internet. I'm hoping, in the case of Zachary Drapkin, that doesn't rear its head once more. Remember what a drive it's been for him through the field. We ride with the young Jacob Rafoss in that number 13 Nitro Circus Sim Racing machine. Up out of the groove they go. And you can see the run off the corner. Nice and tidy for those up front. And again, remember, Barry doesn't have to make the move.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you can really see where they're staying in the middle line there. They weren't going too deep in the corner. They weren't going too far out and getting into the marbles. So they're trying to stay in the traction zone because they know it's starting to blue groove out.
And you can only do so much practice to get the track to slick up in a realistic and meaningful way to how the race is actually going to unfold. So they'll have some experience, yes, but when you get to here, you're relying on having strength in numbers to practice and set these trucks up, and that's where we've got 2 of the best. Team Gold, Nitro Circus Sim Racing, fighting here. 2 more laps to go. Barry trying to crisscross once more. Drapkin closing once more. 6 machines within 2 seconds to close out this season.
And Raf is trying to pick it up, too, as he sees Barry starts to reel in Knupp. He wants to get up into that fight right now. Oh, Barry already started to make the move, trying to get down, rub a little fiberglass. He's going to tuck back in behind Knupp.
Tucks back into line, but is he waiting for the final lap? Is he just plotting a move, a lunge, a slide job? Doesn't park in front, though, of the Team Gold machine. Luke Knupp with the up and under, able to hold on, but intention there. 1 more lap to go next time by.
You got to wonder if, Luke was waiting for that and he was a little ready for it, or Barry's like, okay, I don't need any contact to take us both out.
In the air, they jump. You can see that Jacob Rafoss continues to keep his margin very, very close, but has not inserted himself into the mix just yet. He's going to play the good teammate rear gunner action potentially, and we'll see the white flag this time by in between the 2 drivers that have put on a show at the front. Conor Barry gets the elbows out, forces Knupp a little bit out wide. That will see Barry lead at the white flag, and 1 more lap to go this season. Can Conor Barry hold on as Knupp throws it to the inside?
And Barry will have the inside line coming through here right now. Ralph is now trying to get into the mix there. Outside in there for Knupp. He's going to switch it back again. Rafa is trying to squeeze it up the inside there. Couldn't get the momentum there. Oh, this could be interesting. Rafa could give a door to Knupp.
I think now he's realized that with Connor Barry potentially in the lead, if he's in second, Luke Knupp can't really fight back. Up towards turn 4, one final time. Rafos blocks the path off of Luke Knupp, and Knupp drops down to 5th. Dashley, Drapkin take advantage as well, and the championship lost potentially in one corner.
And Barry's going to lead him through that corner again. Rafis, Drapkin, Dashley. And you can see, oh my goodness, Knupp trying to really jump it up the inside of Dashley there. And again to Drapkin.
In the air, 2 more corners left to go, and what a season it has been. Connor Barry will lead out of the penultimate corner with plenty going on behind in the rearview mirror. You can see that Luke Knupp wants to end the season on a high, did not want the fight to end like this, but once again, reigning supreme, Connor Barry, the 3-time iRacing Short Course National Series champion, taking Nitro Circus Sim Racing once more to victory lane.
And wow, did I see that board just jump around? Did I just see Keaton Swain jump up into 3rd? Drapkin goes back to 4th, and Knupp all the way back to 5th. But wow, congratulations, Connor Barry, a big number 3.
And the elation on Connor Barry's face, the agony on Luke Knupp's face. This is the thrill, the joy of motorsport. We had 18 drivers enter this final round. Only one was ever going to win the race. Only one was going to win the championship. It's been 4 years since Luke Knupp last stood on top here in the iRacing Short Course Series. Still waiting, but you know he put up the best fight that he could. Dave, you've seen plenty of short course in your career. How does this stack up in terms of seasons as we get ready to close things up?
I'll tell you, it's been a great year of iRacing. You know, the short course series, the national series has been incredible. I mean, the battles that we see, watching Luke Knupp come out swinging, Connor Barry, you know, answers back, you know, could he do it again? Well, we just found out he could, but Luke Knupp was there in the fight. But next year, he's going to have a big bullseye on his back because there's some fast drivers going to be coming for him.
The bullseye continues to be targeted on Connor Barry. And again, remember, the margin actually a little bit smaller than our points are going to show on the broadcast because there are a couple of things that iRacing doesn't provide to the timing software, such as who gets the whole shot, who leads at the halfway mark. That also get a couple of bonus points paid out, but ultimately doesn't really matter, especially with the end result. It is going to be Connor Barry, your 3-time champion, winning yet another race on his way to the season. A crown, remember, he had that streak of 3 back-to-back wins in the first handful of weeks. Since then, has not tasted the success, and it's his 4th win in 10 races. Jacob Rafos makes it Nitro Circus Sim Racing 1 and 2 with Keaton Swain, then down in 3rd for Factory Sim Sport. Zachary Drapkin 4th. Late effort for him, of course, but great to see him pushing his way forward. And Luke Knupp going to be slightly heartbroken to be down in 5th to end out the season. Nicholas Dashley, Dane Culver, Christopher Plumley, Cody Winicky, and then Cody Retzlaff make up the rest of your top 10 before you get down to Sean Winkler, to Matthew Lindy, Trenton Briley, Crystal King, Oliver Golding, Tyson Miller, Nathan Metoxen, and Brock Smith. Let's not hang around any longer. It's time for us once again to go catch up with Connor Barry, our now 3-time champion, who is standing by with Dave Arnold.
Connor Barry, well, you did it, buddy. What an incredible race. I got to say, that thing was a nail-biter. I mean, you led it all the way, or Luke led it all the way, and of course, after the halfway, it's like the truck was set up to fly in the second half of the race.
Oh yeah, that was fun. We came out in P2 off of the start, and then we were behind the 5, and then the goal was just to be smart. And then we entered the second half, and I felt like I had a truck that could go and win. And I finally was able to get under him and gravel pit, and we got the win. So I'm pumped, and we are now a 3-time champ.
Now the crazy thing is, watching as you guys were heading to the Cowboys corner, you and Luke, you know, had fought. You already made the pass, but here comes Rafis. I mean, Jacob was right on it. Was there a little bit of a team thought in there, get in there? Or it's like, okay, he just said, I'm going to go for it, but as long as he doesn't take you out?
I wouldn't say that. I think the biggest thing is we knew that if he was to get first, that I had to get fifth. So I think the goal was me to just stay up there. And then I know that he was in third. So then I went for first, and I don't know what was going on, but I was able to get the win, and that's all that we can ask for.
Well, I got to ask, what is next for the CBR General Tire Nitro Circus driver, Connor Berry?
Well, actually, we will not be doing a lot. I think we're going to be taking a small break. We actually don't have the iRacing Off-Road World Championship, so we're actually going to take off the summer. So I would say a small break, but we're definitely going to stay in the truck some, just so whenever we do come back out, we can fight for the wins.
So are we going to see you in real life in the Pro Light and the RS1 or anything here soon?
Yeah, so our goal is to get out to Bark, which is August, and then fall Crandon. So that is our goal. So we definitely should actually be out there soon.
Well, definitely looking forward to it. I know you got a lot of great people behind you that make this so possible, Connor.
For sure. A big thanks to CBR General Tire. A big thanks to my teammates. We actually put in a ton of work, and our truck was so fast. It was definitely a bullet, and we were able to get the fourth win of the season and clinch the championship. So yeah, a big thanks to them, and a big thanks to you and Arjuna for the stream.
Well, right on. Congratulations, Connor Berry, with the win there and the championships. And I do believe Arjuna is sitting with second place right now, and Jacob Raffus.
Yes, as the sun comes up behind young Jacob, we get ready to close out our season. Jacob, great way to close out the campaign with Nitro Circus Sim Racing 1 and 2, Connor grabbing the championship and you grabbing second place. How do you feel about the 2024 National Series officially now being in the books?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good season. I know I didn't race all the races, but I mean, Connor taking championship is probably it's probably the best.
I can tell that you're tired. I don't blame you for not racing all the rounds of the season. Tell the viewers a little bit about what it takes to race at a level this high. What is it, 4:40 in the morning right now? So you've probably been awake for three or so hours?
Yeah, and I got an exam tomorrow, so I mean, I just gotta jump into bed right after this interview.
Tell you what, we won't hold you up any longer, Jacob. Great run for you in the Nitro Circus Sim Racing machine, and looking forward to seeing plenty more of you here in 2024 on RaceBot TV.
Thank you.
So Jacob Raffos goes off to sleep, and we don't blame him at the end of the day for needing to do so. Immediately turns his camera off as well. Let's catch up with Keaton Swain to end off the season. Keaton, a podium in your number 21 Sim Coaches Factory Sim Sport machine. Talk us through being here at the big house and coming out on top in that battle for the final step on the podium.
Yeah, that was crazy. Kind of had a beat-up truck there for most of the race. That was kind of a pinball. Knew if we could survive the land rush there, we'd have a shot at having a good finish, and that's all I kind of wanted, was just to have a good finish to end the year out there and try to solidify the third place in the points. And we did that, and somehow came away with third there going into the last corner. I don't know how that happened, but I'll definitely take that one.
Let's talk a bit about then plans for the rest of the year, because like you said, you solidified third in the championship. The late charge and consistent points very much helping you there, not having, I think, too much to worry about here at Crandon. But what's up on the calendar, on the agenda for the rest of the year for you and the Factory Sim Sport crew? Where are you going to be putting your attention?
Probably the next up for us will be Josh Edmondson's Racecraft Pro 2 League coming up here in a couple weeks. And then after that, not too sure since there's no iRacing World Championships. So I know we'll see what happens. Might dip our toes in some other stuff, either some oval or some dirt oval. So we'll see as the year goes on here.
The rest of iRacing better be careful. Keaton Swain's coming for them. Keaton, before we let you go, anyone that you want to thank behind the scenes? Been a great season, of course, for Factory Sim Sport as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I got to thank Lawrence over at Sim Coaches. He always helps me out dialing in my pedals. He makes a great product. Everyone on the team at Factory Sim Sport putting in the practice laps and work on the setups. And then, of course, everyone that helps out Connor's League and all his sponsors. And, of course, you guys for doing the broadcast.
Always great when we get great racing to shout about. Makes our life easy. Congratulations on the great season, Keaton, on third in the championship as well, and looking forward to seeing you a little bit more over the course of 2024.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will have coverage of that Pro 2 Championship here on RaceBot TV, so the dirt action by no means is done. But unfortunately, this season is now done and dusted. And Dave, it's been a pleasure to work alongside of you. We've seen some great racing, but the grind for these drivers never ends. Of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg in the iRacing short course world. The National Series represents its very top ladder, and there are plenty of drivers that will be plotting their way back up to this level for its next season.
Oh, it was a great season. I can't wait to see what's going to come next season there, and hopefully we'll get a regional series going again.
Yeah, that is exactly where those drivers will make their mark and where we'll find out who the next crop of hopefuls will be to try, let's be honest, and stop Connor Barry from making it 4 National Series titles in a row. There is a look at what a wild campaign that we've had. It was only Trenton Browley and Dane Culver that interrupted Luke Knupp and Connor Barry, sharing 4 wins apiece. Dave, as we wrap up here, though, from Crandon, great season. I'm sure we'll look forward to plenty more. What's going to happen in your world for the rest of 2024? Where can people watch you and listen to you as the racing action continues?
Oh, man, I got a lot of stuff going on this year. Of course, heading over to Japan, getting ready for the Asian Championships. Got Baja 500 coming up next weekend. We've got the 400, the 1000, Crandon, all kinds of fun stuff coming up.
So basically,
it's too much to talk about.
Basically, turn an off-road stream on, and you might hear your voice.
Off-road, you might see that in off-road, or watercraft racing, or hydroplanes, or anything. You never know.
Pick your poison. You can find some Dave Arnold. And again, as mentioned, we'll have more short course racing with the Pro 2s this summer coming up on RaceBot TV. Cannot wait for it. And it has been a pleasure to have all of it here on RaceBot TV. For the team behind the scenes, of course, at the iRacing Short Course National Series, Connor Barry and his team that make it all happen. Dave Arnold and Arjuna Kankipati on the broadcast. And of course, can't forget Cam Obenon on social media, keeping you up to date with what is going on. What a fun way to close out the season. Connor Barry becomes your 3-time National Series king. Can't wait to do this again. For now, so long and goodbye.